wanted to check in with my spirit guides tonight. Am I speaking with beings of love and light? Yes. Okay, wonderful. Okay, tonight I thought we could talk a little bit about my own spiritual awakening and some of the details about how I got to this point of being connected to the divine realms. So I guess the first question I'll ask my spirit guides is, what did I used to be before my spiritual awakening? A N N A T H E I S T, an atheist. That is correct. So I went through my whole adult life as a total skeptic of everything spiritual, of everything religious. I completely rejected all religious dogma and doctrine. I had no training with the Bible, really no theology at all. And I was also, I kind of had been to a few psychics, but I'd never taken them seriously. I thought it was really entertainment. I thought it was kind of fun, but I did not take it seriously at all. So a few years ago, I got on the path. I began watching somehow, I think it was during COVID, near-death experience videos. And it began to open up my awareness that there was a possibility there was something else going on. There were things that I did not understand and I'd been closed off to. And I then began to start to read some books. And my spirit guides later told me they had guided me to the main book, which really opened me up completely, and that was The Raw Material. So The Raw Material is a channeled text from the 1980s that three people got together and tried to connect with a higher consciousness, extraterrestrial being in the divine realms. And when I read that book, there was something about that book that was just an instant knowing as being truth, that I was reading the truth. In fact, I'm getting chills right now just talking about it. So that really, all I can say is expanded my awareness and consciousness that there's something else and bigger and grander going on here than just straight materialism. So I then began to read other books that were related, such as Dolores Cannon's New Earth, and several of her Convoluted Universe and some of her other texts, which also gave me validation that there were other things going on, and that there was there are other realms and dimensions that we are not currently aware of in this earthly experience. By design, it seems, by design. So the next step in my spiritual awakening was really asking to speak to my spirit guides directly. And they'll know, obviously, what the answer to this, but what is the reason why spirit guides and other beings of the divine realms cannot contact human beings in the incarnational experience directly? What's the main reason why they cannot do that? F-R-E-E, free, W-I-L-L, free will. So in other words, I had to ask to speak to them. They could not speak to me even though they were with me my entire life, because I had never asked to speak with them. I didn't believe in it. I thought it was just beyond the realm of the possible. So once I opened that door to connection with them, I began to see signs, more signs and synchronicities in my physical world. I started to see manifestations of things I was thinking about. I started to hear, I don't want to say voices, that wasn't really it, but I believe it started at night, actually, telepathic contact. So it started with the pendulum and it moved to telepathy. And I've been in telepathic contact for, I don't know, almost a year at this point with my spirit guides. And obviously I can use this pendulum to show a physical manifestation of my experience with them and them channeling their messages through me. So I know that was kind of a long story, but I thought I might explain how this happened and how it could happen for you, because we are all emanations of source and we can all connect with the divine realms if we give them permission. So I guess I wanted to talk about possibly maybe some spiritual hygiene. I think that's probably a good next topic. Spirit guides, are there any tips or suggestions you might give for people who want to connect to their guides for the first time? Yes, okay. O, P, E, and open. Y, O, U, are your. H, E, A, R, T, heart. S, P, A, C, E, open your heart space. And why I think you're saying that is because we need to be at a certain frequency or level of consciousness in order for contact to be made. And part of that is finding love and opening up our hearts to ourselves and to others. So we can't be filled with anger, hatred, jealousy, all the lower vibrational emotions in order to connect with the beings that we wish to connect with, the higher frequency beings that we wish to connect with. Okay, so what would happen if an individual tried to make contact and they weren't sure if they were truly connected to beings of a higher frequency? What should they do? L, I, S, T, E, and listen. T, O2, T, H, E, I, are there. I, N, T, U, I, T, I, O. And intuition. Listen to their intuition. So, in other words, if something feels off, if something feels like it might be untruthful or of a lower vibration, or it's giving information that seems harmful or not of a love message. So the message is not of love, then that individual should terminate that interaction. Yes, because there are beings who are not of the higher frequencies, and it's important that we are opening up our heart space, letting go of the lower vibration emotions and blockages, and setting an intention to connect with beings of a higher frequency in order to make that connection. Okay, wonderful. I just thought it might be a good time to share my story, a little bit about what happened to me, and that this is possible for you too, because I was a huge skeptic. I did not believe at all. And so for them to get through to me, there's definitely hope for you, but it's good to be aware and use your intuition and your inner knowings, because you are a spark of source and you will understand and respond to that and feel that if it feels off. Okay, wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up this session? No? Okay, all right. W, E, we, L, O, V, E, love, Y, Love you. Okay, sending you much love and gratitude. Thank you so much for helping us with learning about who we are and connecting to those higher frequency levels. So thank you so much and good night.